Hey, what's up? John from VideoFort.com. We are going to be covering titles today. Super exciting stuff. We're going to go over the basics of creating kind of like an intro title sequence. These are going to be basic titles, so stay tuned for a little later on. We'll do that really cool intro you guys have been asking about, but this one's going to be slightly more basic but still valuable. So let's get into it. We'll go up to Layer, New, Text, and let's go ahead and enter in our text. I'm going to have it be VideoFort. Oh, look at that. Now, you notice over here I've got my character pane open, and we can increase the size of that, or I'm just going to adjust these real quick. So we've got all of our character information over here, and if we just select our text layer, we can go here, and these are our fonts. And the nice thing is you can use your arrow keys to just kind of click through, and you can see all the different fonts that you have at your disposal, and you can download new ones online. But right now we're going to keep it at copperplate because I think that looks nice. You can also increase the size of your text. You can do a bunch of cool different settings down here, making them bold or italic, or all uppercase or staggered uppercase. Endless options. You can also add a stroke by clicking on this little box with the red slash through it. You can add on a stroke there and make it look real fancy. You can increase the stroke size and also change the different settings with the stroke here. So, cool stuff. We're going to leave that off for right now, though. But now that we have our text created, we're going to go to the effects and presets over here and check out our animation presets for text. And let's go ahead and grab a 3D text. And let's check out the flip in rotate. We can just drag that right on top of the layer. Now, this makes an animation for us, so we don't need to set the keyframes, which is nice. It's preset, and it sets the first keyframe wherever your time indicator is at. So it set it right at the beginning for us, and if we scrub through, it's going to show us the animation. How fancy. Look at that go. And with our VideoFort layer selected, if we hit the letter U on our keyboard, that'll bring up all the keyframes for this layer, which is pretty much the animation that we just did. So these are the keyframes for that animation. And if we want to change where this animation happens, we can move it down. And now the animation is not going to start until later on. Or let's say we want the animation to be switched so that it flips inwards. We can do that. Move these back to the beginning and scrub through that way. Now they kind of flip the opposite direction instead. So, lots of different things you can do there. I'm going to remove this animation though, because we are going to continue to learn. We can also go over to here and go down to Browse Presets. And this will open up Adobe Bridge for us. And these are our text presets. If we go into text, and we can check out, let's go to organic. And this is kind of nice because it lets us kind of preview the different effects before we apply them to the text. So you see it over here. It's kind of showing us what it's going to do, get real crazy. And if we go back into After Effects and select the layer, then if we go back into our Adobe Bridge and double click on the effect we want, it'll apply that effect to your selected layer. And so now we've got that cool little whatever warpy effect. Yeah, that's what I want to use for my opening title sequence. That's all we need. You guys don't want to learn the transformer effect. That's it right there. Boom. But yeah, so Adobe Bridge can be kind of nice for that, so you can kind of see all the different effects before you apply them, and you can go through all of them. You're not really limited to anything. So So many effects. There's like a gajillion on here. So yeah, go check that out. Just love animating text. So I'm going to go ahead and undo those because I don't want that on. Ooh, I'm getting whistled at. Alrighty, so like I said, lots of cool animations that we can add to our text. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to decrease the text size here, bring it down just a little bit. Then I'm going to bring in a logo here. It's a VF logo, or VideoFort logo. And let's scale this down and put it on the left side over here. Yeah, that looks nice. I'm gonna rearrange these. Then another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add another line of text here right under VideoFort and have it say, let's make this 200. I'm going to have it say tutorials, so I'm just going to duplicate this text field and move it down. I'm also going to bring this underneath so that we don't get confused. And we'll just highlight that and rename it to tutorials. Sweet. Now we're really getting into it. Okay, and from there we're going to highlight all of our layers and right-click and pre-compose them. We're going to say move all attributes into new composition. Okay, awesome. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us a comp here. So we're going to rename this logo. And now these are kind of grouped together, and we can put effects onto this composition, and it'll apply it to all three of these, which is, you know, kind of nice. I'm also going to put a mask around it. It's not completely necessary, but it'll just kind of make me happy, and that's all that matters, is if I'm happy. So I'm not happy till you're not happy, guys. So from here, let's go ahead and add a ramp gradient. So if we go up to, with our composition selected, if we go up to layer, new, solid, and we're going to make it a black solid, say OK. Let's say dark gray, get it all the way to black. Awesome, and we'll just call this ramp and say OK. And we'll bring that below our logo layer and then go up to Effect, Generate, Ramp. That'll give us the gradient. We're going to change it to a radial ramp. And let's bring down our center point to the center, right about there. And we can also play with, you know, how much it goes. I'm going to get it so it gets just outside the VideoFort tutorials. You can see all that there. Cool. I'm going to change the end color to our blue. That looks pretty sweet. And actually, we want our start color to be the blue. And our end color is going to be black. Sweet. And we can maybe bring that up just a little more. Center that. Alright, cool. So, we've got our ramp made. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the 3D space for our logo. We do that by clicking here. That's how you can tell. And if we go up to layer, new, camera, and we're going to make a camera. We can do different settings here, but we're going to keep it at a 50 millimeter. Say OK. Now we've got our camera. If we go up to our orbit camera tool, we can kind of rotate around and see that this is in a 3D plane. Isn't that sweet? So let's go ahead and go up to Layer, New, Solid, and we're going to have it be a black solid again. Say OK. And from here, we're going to go up to Effect. And actually, let's just go to our Effects presets and search for Particle. And we are going to add CC Particle World to this black solid layer. That's going to bring up, let's go ahead and solo this so you can see it a little better. And if we move forward in time, we can see our particles. It's going to give us a particle generator. Very cool. I'm going to be playing this with our intro animation stuff. Let's go ahead and turn off the grid for the floor. I don't really want to see that. I'll just collapse that back up. And let's check out the settings. So we've got birth rate. This is pretty much how many particles are going to get born at any point in time. If you increase that, more come up on the screen over time. We also have longevity. That's how long the particles stay alive for. You got your producer. That'll change, positioning of the particles in the X, Y, and Z planes. You can zoom in and out of there. Really cool stuff. And we also got the radius positions as well, and that's going to stretch out our particle effect. So let's go ahead and do that right now because we want to stretch it out a little bit. And stretch out the Y space. That looks good. And let's stretch out the Z space too. Give it kind of a awesome effect. So now we just kind of have these particles falling on the screen. If we go into physics, I love physics. I actually started out in physics in high school, and I didn't like it, so I dropped it. I'm really glad I get to come back to it now. We have all these different cool little things. It'll kind of change how the particles go across the screen. You can kind of decide on your own, play with it, have fun. I'm going to keep it on twirl. That looks sweet. Velocity is going to increase the amount of movement and how fast everything's going. And if you drop it down to 0, it'll actually cease movement except for on gravity. So it kind of gives you like a rain effect if you're like, really play with the settings and make it look more like rain instead of like fire rain. And then if you drop down the gravity to 0, the particles stop moving altogether and just kind of appear and disappear on the screen and don't move. So that's kind of fun. You can play with that a little bit. If you go down to particle, you can actually change particle types. Right now it's at line. You don't really get too much movement on here because they're just dots birthing and dying since we turned off the velocity and gravity. So let's go ahead and go through these and check out. You got stars. So those kind of appear and reappear. You can do, cubes. That's fun. Get into geometry. I love doing geometry with my physics. And I'm actually going to choose lens convex. Now this one can be a little annoying because we can't change the colors down here. To change the color, we actually go to our solid settings and change the color there. I'm going to make it that bluish type color that we got going on because I think that's super ultra cool, and that's what I want. Sweet. So now we can kind of see our particles appearing and disappearing on there. That looks really funky, super high quality. We're going to get a job anytime now, guys. Just keep applying. You can also change the birth size so they can be super giant when they're born, and then when they die, they'll be really tiny. And so as you move through, we can see that. I don't want them that big, though. That's ridiculous. And you can also change death size so that they're bigger when they die as well. So they'll start out small and get bigger, almost like they're exploding. So you can do some really fun and interesting stuff there. And you also do a size variation, so it's like they're not all the same looking. You get a bit more depth and coolness to it. And another important thing to note is that this effect is a 3D effect. You know that by this little cube next to it. So you don't turn on the 3D over here because it's already set in a 3D world. And to see that, let's take off the solo, select our camera, and then our camera tool, and we can kind of rotate around, and you can see how these particles exist in a 3D space. So, you know, we're getting there, guys. It's almost super cool. But everybody knows almost doesn't count. Almost doesn't count. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you guys listen to good music or not, but that was a song. Okay, so let's go ahead and rename this layer Particles. And I think we could make those particles look a little cooler. Let's add a glow effect to them. So if we go up to Effect, Stylize, Glow. That's going to give us the glow effect. Boom, look at that. Can't you see them shining? Actually, by default, they keep the intensity down a little bit. So let's pop it up to like a 3. You can start seeing it come through. Let's also change color channels to alpha channel. That's going to add the glow to the outside edge where it's starting to lose opacity. So now we can kind of see that glow coming through. We can probably decrease it down to about a 2. We can also increase or decrease glow threshold. I'm going to decrease the threshold. That's going to help it pop through some. And I also want to change the color B down here. I'm going to make it our cool blue color that we got going on. And maybe even have it be slightly darker. Oh yeah, purple, that's what I want. So yeah, that looks pretty sweet. I also want the glow composite to go on top of it, so it's on top. And now let's kind of scrub through and see how these are appearing. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. We got a lot of them coming up. Let's turn off the birth rate a little bit. And then let's also play with this glow radius some. Let's increase the glow radius. That's about there. Yeah, so now we got these cool glowing dots that are gonna go all around the screen. You notice that they're all popping up in front of the VideoFort tutorials. It's kind of hard to read that, so let's go ahead and drop it down below our logo. So now they're going to be behind it, which is good. And let's add a drop shadow to our VideoFort tutorials. So if we double click on our logo layer, that'll bring us into here. I'm going to select VideoFort, and let's turn on our transparency so that we can kind of see this drop shadow go on. And with VideoFort selected, let's just go ahead and search for drop shadow over here. And we got it underneath perspective. We'll just drop that right onto VideoFort. You see it pops up there. We're going to set our distance to 0, our opacity to 100%, and then we also need to increase the softness. So as we increase that, we'll start to see it pop through there. Now if we want this to be a little more intense, we can just duplicate the shadow by doing Command D if you're on a Mac, Control C if you're on a Control D if you're on a PC. And that'll duplicate it. So now we got a nice little shadow on our VideoFort, and then if we highlight both of these drop shadow effects, we can just Command C or Control C if you're on a PC, and then paste them onto our tutorials. So that was just a copy and paste. So now we got a nice little drop shadow going on there. Let's go back to our comp. yeah, it's coming along. Let's RAM preview that. That's just beauty at its best. Sweet. So we got a little RAM preview going on. It's losing our logo over here for whatever reason. But yeah, that is pretty much the part one. In the next one, we're going to learn how to move around this space with the camera and do a little animation through 3D space. All right, guys. I will be back shortly. Make sure to head over to VideoFort.com, check out some awesome footage over there, and click on subscribe to your right. You'll stay up to date on all these awesome tutorials we're putting out for you, and learn some more interesting, cool, and new techniques, and hopefully something you haven't learned before. All right, guys. Have a great day. See you soon. Later.